Hey, man, we're going to hit you with another one on this fine Sunday morning or afternoon or whenever the hell I actually do post the video. Um, but you're watching Staring Beyond the Wall. Where, as always, it's the Skyway course. Jeez, I can't even speak. The Skyway Corsair. That's me. I can't even say my own name. That's where we're at. That's how fucked up in the head I am right now. Hey, walk with me for a minute, because we're going to go get a our last coffee here. Because we're just going to try to, you know, have the brain just going on all cylinders, even though it may cause me to have, a heart attack or something. It's hard to say. We went a long time without caffeine. Just having a soda every once in a while because our diet and we work out. We're healthy here. But then, I've gone down the coffee route, and it's not an advertisement for Black Rifle Coffee. So, um, if I could ever make this into something, I would never take sponsorships. Because fuck a sponsor. Fuck capitalism. Fuck all that shit. Don't want sponsors. Right? This is good coffee, though. But fuck a sponsor. So, you may be saying, Skyway Corsair, why have you graced us with your presence again so quickly? We got tired of listening to you for 38 fucking minutes, just ramble and rave. God damn it. I can understand, right? But how about this? And we wanted to talk about more positive things on the channel, more fun things, but it just keeps on piling up, and we can't ignore it. We just can't ignore it. So, how about the CDC, right? It's to my United States, my fellow United States of American citizen folk, whatever, neighbors, people that hate me, whatever the hell it might be. So the CDC has now got some language on their website saying something about what is it? Something along the lines of there isn't an there isn't enough studies done to show that vaccines don't don't potentially play a role in causing autism, right? So basically, it's I mean what it is RFK Jr. and his bullshit. So now the CD fucking C, right, on their fucking website, instead of okay, so I can't help but make analogies here, right? And we're going to make an analogy, and you might not be comfortable with this one, right? But so saying that, oh well, there's not enough evidence to suggest that it doesn't have, so there's all this evidence to the contrary, right? And the evidence that we have that of what autism is and how we understand it, the genetic, you know, being genetic. Geez, I can't even speak. It's genetically passed on, right? All the neurological aspects of it, right? We're going to ignore all that, even though that was our stand for so long, and we're now going to say, yeah, there's not enough evidence to suggest that it doesn't have what? Like, okay, so what it's akin to is like, and this is what you guys might not like, but it's akin to, and plenty of people in this country would love this, right? Which is just fucking insane. But it'd be like being in school and you're in biology class and you're learning about the theory of evolution by natural selection, right? And in the textbooks, instead of being it going heavy in regards to the evidence support, and maybe it still does, right? It goes into that evidence to some degree of supporting evolution by natural selection. But then you have like this, this whole chapter or this caveat somewhere, just basically, stating, you know, however, with all this being said, there's no studies or there's no evidence to suggest that um, that Hold on a second. Let me get this thought correct. Okay, so that there is no evidence to suggest that a magical, you know, omnipresent, omniscient, you know, forever being, big wizard man in the sky didn't actually, you know, and I know evolution's not it doesn't discuss the generation, like how life came to be. That's abiogenesis, right? But also we could target abiogenesis in this as well. But it's like, there's no evidence that suggests that, there wasn't some magical being who actually played a role, or they didn't actually cast little magic spells, over the eons um, to affect the adaptations and the evolution of all the living creatures on this planet, right? So I know I'm wording this very weird, but that is that's the analogy that comes to mind, right? It's like there's no reason to believe that any kind of whatever that is, divine entity. Because again, go ahead and define that. Show me an example. I'm not trying to drag this into a religious versus science debate, right? But you know, show me evidence of a divine. Like what is an example of a divine entity or being or whatever? Like we have no examples of this. There's no reason to believe this is true, but because some people have come up with this idea, like we can't disprove it. I think you can with, but we can't disprove it. So even though we have all this evidence that actually shows what you know the history of life on this planet and how it came to be what it is today, and it's like no, we got to throw this in there that well, but it could have been this magical man, waving his fingers around a little bit and or I guess he's omnipresent, omniscient. He just popped in his head, and hey, this is how that was the mechanism. Um, that was the mechanism that explains life on planet Earth, right? So it's analogous to that in my mind, right? So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Here's where we get again. If you watched any videos previously, we're not a conspiracy theorist here, and we shit on conspiracies for the most part, right? Um, because so many of them are actually sorry to continue to talk about religion a little bit. So many of them are like attached to the hip to religion, like all the Jews are secretly rule the world. That whole bullshit conspiracy. Get the fuck out of here. It's just religious bigotry and persecution from whether Christians or Muslims or whomever against the Jews. That's all that is. It's bullshit. And yeah, that's just an example, right? We shit on these kind of wild conspiracy theories all the time, right? Um, but I remember when AI started to become really a topic of discussion a few years ago, having a conversation with a buddy of mine where it was like, I realize this is conspiratorial thinking, but it's like I could definitely see a situation where the wealthy use AI to just like kill all those peasants, kill all the poor people in the world. So here's an effective way for us to make sure we have all the resources to ourselves, and that we play. It's like some kind of modern day eugenics here. Like all the poor people, they're all stupid, brain dead. The brain dead masses, which I mean, there's truth to that to some extent. So many people, there's so many people on this planet, and that includes a lot of the rich too. Don't let them fool you. Are pretty fucking brain dead, right? They just. I hate to say it like that, but that's kind of the situation we're in. But that doesn't mean I want to kill everybody, right? It's like, damn, I still want to try to educate and play a part, and there's plenty of people that I've met in my life that weren't that bright, but we got along and I like them, right? That it just is what it is. And again, I'm not a genius either, so hey, there's plenty of things I don't know, plenty of things that just you start explaining, getting into quantum physics, and that's something that it's hard for me to follow. Like advanced mathematical theory, and I'm just gonna stare at you like because I'm a clueless idiot when it comes to those kind of things. So let's get that out of the way. But so yeah, like that. This kind of thing, though, right? Where it's like, okay, let's tell people that to not get vaccines, right, against deadly diseases. Um, let's tell them not to do that, right? Let's manipulate the market, um, and again, extract all the wealth possible, pull it up to the top. Let's ignore homelessness. Let's throw people into internment camps and fucking in gulags and shit and get cheap labor out of them. Um, there's so many mechanisms to the modern day United States and other parts of the world that do feel like we're in some sort of stage of where the Peter Thiels of the world are kind of like, yep, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to just kill off the fucking poor. Modern day eugenics, man. It's the Peter Thiels of the world and all their narcissism and their self belief of how everything that they've acquired in life has just been, again, the self made man illusion bullshit. Again, I've sit here and watched. I mean, like we think about Donald Trump. You think about Donald Trump, prime example. This man is a fucking moron, right? If he and I had a discussion and we had a debate, we could pick a topic, right? I'm pretty sure, you know, I'm pretty damn confident that just me, this random peasant fella who records videos and rages against the system, would absolutely eviscerate this motherfucker, right? And you could take it prime Donald Trump, whatever that whenever that was, if such a thing existed. I guess back in the days when he was, hanging out with Epstein and things. But yeah, I'm going to absolutely eviscerate this man because he's a fool. He's stupid. He's dumb as a fucking truck. So, but yeah, it feels weird. So I'm not saying this is exactly what's going on, but there are so many things where it's like, dude, it feels like the squeeze is on for the poor. When we've reached a point, technologically speaking, where it kind of is easier to commit like mass atrocities and mass conspiracy, against large groups of people. We kind of are there, technologically speaking. So it feels very weird. And yeah, check this shit out about the CDC website. It's like, what the fuck? And again, we have so many fucking people who believe this shit. Anything that comes out of from this administration, they're just hook, line, and sinker. Holy fuck. So that's where we're at. I thought I just wanted to comment on that. I just find it to be disturbing to the maximum, right? But again, we're doing it with a smile on our face because you can't help but at some point, it really is just like, the end is nigh, and fuck, um, the absurdity of it, the absurdity of it. You have to laugh at it. You have to laugh at it, or else it's like you're going to go down a path of, as the kids say these days, of self-deletion. So this shit is wild. It is absolutely fucking wild. And another thing I kind of wanted to piggyback off of is like, with if that is a reality. I mean, again, it seems like somebody like Peter Thiel really does believe these kind of things. Where like these fucking people are fucking evil, bro. They are evil. But I mean, are these mechanisms? Is this truly what this is, or is this just the typical grifting? Everybody's trying to make money some way, and that's the baseline of it. That's the driving force, and it's not any deeper than that. I mean, it's very possible. But given these given something like this, with everything else that we are encountering here, you do have so many people who are much more influential, like even on this platform on YouTube, and I think there's something to be said about, like, they're influential, they're on the right side of things, right? They believe in a lot of the same things that we believe in, right? And they seem to be advocating for change and fighting back, but there is that worry that so many people are just going to get comfortable with, because they're able to they're living a fairly comfortable existence, maybe based off of their, the revenue they rake in from their platform, their public platform. And it's, how long can we just sit back and just comment about these things, and but then actually, enrage about them, but not actually do anything about it, right? I mean, we've commented on that before on the channel, and I mean, that's what I'm doing, is just kind of sitting here, just, you know in a way, throwing my hands up. I mean, I'm not living comfortably. Believe fucking me, we're not living comfortably here. But it's just kind of like, oh, we're just kind of rage. I don't like hypocrisy. I don't want to be a hypocrite, right? But I mean, I am ready to fucking fight, as I have um, said multiple times. But right now, it feels like the only thing I can really do is just kind of record these rage filled um, videos, and put them out there. At least until, I'm able to have the resources to do more, right? So this, want to comment on that again as well. It just felt like it's a connected. These things are connected. And then yeah, at the end of this, I just to wrap this up for the day is, again, a comment on um, my own personal struggle here. If you check out my previous video where I talk about, it looks like I'm going to be, I've been recruited by a MLM pyramid scheme, and just thinking about the just how dystopian that is, right? Like, just how that just adds flavor to this already just mass of fuckery that we find ourselves living through. It's interesting. But I did want to say this, right? Because it's like, I think so many people, which I can respect. It's like, if you live in a place, you're surrounded by family and friends, and even if you're going through things, you're not going to be willing to do, to make a big move, or to make a major change, right? I can respect that for sure. But like we've talked about, here, for us, for me specifically, I don't want to throw my kids, I don't know if this would be throwing them under the bus, but I don't relate with a lot of my family, and because of that, this is the way I am, and so, like, I don't have these these kind of these connections to where I feel grounded to a certain place. Now, I will say that yes, I do have two other kids, and they live here, and there's no way in hell I'll ever be able to convince their mother of anything, because she chooses to live, in a bubble, and to turn a blind eye to what's actually occurring around her, and still believes in this fairy tale dream of the American dream. I believe that's why she's shackled to herself to a mortgage, and and is, you start getting into these kind of conversations, and she's somewhere else, because gotta just hide away, gotta evade, gotta pretend like it's not real. So I would be, in a situation where I wouldn't be able, I would have to walk away from those kids, and I don't want to do that, because I still feel like if I had to, there's a way eventually I could get them, right. I could bring them in to be with me, one way or another. But at this point, though, right, where that's just, it's like you can control what you can control, and you kind of have to do what you got to do. I have these other two kids, the two kids that live with me, my two oldest, and right now everything has to be about them two, like, because I can't. Again, it's like I'm being held at arm's length, and my influence with my other two children is very limited. Um, my interactions are very limited, and it's like I love them to death, and I love them just as much as my older two, but like all I can do is do is I have the ability to shape the lives of these two kids, right? That's where it's at. So it's like, hey, if you're somebody that, especially if you're somebody who lives somewhere warm, um, there's plenty of things to be said about a place like Florida, or Texas, or anywhere else. But if you happen to be someone who, is an honest and, decent person, and is needing some help with some work somewhere in a state like that, I tell you right now, I'll pack up my shit and hop in the car. Me and the kids will drive down there, and we will we will we are ready. We are ready to put in that work, right? It could be anything from physical, the typical physical bullshit. If you're a contractor, need some help, hey, I can help you. I mean, I'm not that experience with certain things, but I'm willing to learn, and physically strong, we can do the damn thing. Um, or if you're somebody who is a content creator or somebody who is trying to have an influence, a positive influence on the world in some kind of, lack of a better term, non-traditional way, and you're needing some help with that, hey, this is your guy. Just leave a comment, man, and we can connect. I was just thinking about that today, just how willing I am at this point, just to, I mean, like I said, I'd love to get out of this country, but I don't know how the hell I would pull that off. But I surely could, pack up the kids and the essentials, and hop in the car, and I think we have enough gas money, and I could make it somewhere, and I'm ready just to set up shop somewhere else. It's, goddamn, this place. Mm-mm-mm. It, it is not for me. But with that, we are gonna in this video. It's longer than I intended, but that's always every single video, and we just. I'm such a perfectionist. If I start trying to edit everything, it's going to take me forever. I will spend hours and hours and hours doing that, and do nothing else. And then it's like, it's hard to do that kind of thing when you're trying to parent two children, and you're in a situation like we are in financially, and the lack of stability, and um, the lack of security, even with having a home. It's very hard to do, to make these things as well as I would like to make them. But so yeah, we're going to cut it short here, 22 minutes. But we're going to go ahead and sign off for right now, and this might be our last video for the day. I'm going to try to do some other things, get some other things done. But as always, if you made it this far, like and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it, and all that kind of thing. And I am the Skyway Corsair, staring beyond the wall today and every day. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.